Welcome back. In this video, I will diving into vectors, which are the most fundamental data structure in R. Understanding vectors is crucial because they are the building blocks for almost everything else we will do in R. So this part, second part of the video, we'll go into understanding vectors, and then we'll do the list and data frames, and then we'll finish it up with metrics and arrays, time permitting. So vectors are the bedrocks of R's data structure. And in this video, we define vector as a sequence of data elements of the same basic um, type. We demonstrate how to create different types of vectors using the C function. So C function, where numeric for sure is for numbers like stock prices, character will be for text like ticker symbols, and then logic is whether it's true or false. Is this stock, does it pay dividend or not? True or false. We emphasize arrow strict type coercion, where mixing types result in conversion to the most flexible type for data type. A key concept introduced is vectorization. That's our ability to perform operations on entire vectors simultaneously, making code efficient. We also show how to access individual elements or subsets of a vector using one-based indexing and logic conditions. Finally, we'll highlight useful built-in functions like length, sum functions, mean, max, and sort for basic vector manipulation. Okay, let me switch here. Okay, so yeah, continuing in our video series. So again, we'll, this part will be on data structure. Again, very high level introductory part. Um, where we'll go through these three different data structures. I will say five, kind of. Okay, for the first one, understanding vectors and the building blocks of R. Um, I'm gonna clear here from the last video. So a vector. So what is a vector? A vector is a sequence of data elements of the same basic type. Is the simplest data structure in R. So creating vectors, so we have the numerical vectors, so which is the most common for financial data. Think of your stock price. So we use this function, which is basically a combine or concatenate function. Okay, so we're gonna create a vector here and assign it to the variable prices. So I run this, we get it. So we print our price here. So we see our price, and then um, you know, just to confirm the data type, we use the class function to check, which obviously is a numerical data type. Okay, for the character vectors, which are like for text, like stock ticker here. So we're gonna look at some of these US stocks. So we print this. So that's Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and APL. I've forgotten. Is it Apple? I believe it's Apple. So we print this tickers. We have four elements that are vectors, and then we check. It will show character. So that's the data type. And of course, in my book, we'll focus on the Canadian aristocrat stocks, dividend stocks. So here we run our ticker. So that's um, forgotten this one. So I think this is CRL, Enbridge, and Royal Bank, and we'll get more into this. So that's our Canadian ticker stocks. We run the variable to see the tickers that we have stored, and of course you can check the data type by using class, which we tell you that is character. So next is the logical vectors. which stores the true or false values, right? So here we have a variable: is the dividend a payer? We check the, depending on whichever. So first one is true, false, true, true, false. So true they pay, false they don't, right? So we run that. We print our vector here variable, and then we check the class. So you can see the class data type is logical. Same with Canadian aristocrat stocks. We know all of them pay dividends, and that's something we will dive in into details later. So print the variable, check the class, and then use logical. So the next one is R reinforces a single data type per vector. If you mix data types, R will coerce them to the most flexible type. So it comes in this sequence: character, numeric, and logic. So we run here, we have a mixed vectors of number, character, and logic, right? So we run the vector, and then we print our vector. So as you can see, it coerced um, one, because we have a character here, it coerced, you notice one and two became characters, right? Okay, in terms of part three here, we're going to vectorization, so which is basically performing operation on the entire vectors. One of Arrow's strength is performing operations on an entire vectors at once. Okay, so we go here. So here, example here, we're going to convert prices from US dollars to Canadian dollars, assuming this exchange rate. So we run the exchange rate here, and then for us to get the Canadian equivalence, so obviously it will be the price times the exchange using the multiplication operator. And then you run the you run the variable, and then you get this. Okay, so next we calculate the daily price changes of the, assuming let's say is a stock price. So we see the price changes here in fractions. This is our current prices, vector prices assigned to the current prices. And now our new prices will be the addition of the current price plus the price changes. So you can do this addition as a vector. So next, we're going to access vector elements indexing. So here you can retrieve specific elements from a vector using your position index. So Arrow uses one based index. So the first element is at the position one, unlike Python where one you access it at zero. So just thought I should throw that in. Okay, so to access the first element of the price, we assign it to this variable. So this is how you use your square bracket for the price that we've assigned earlier on. So we want to access the first element. You run this, and then you print the first element, and this is your first element, right? You want to access the third element as well. You know, access it by typing the number 3. So that will get access the third element here. You print it, and that's our third ticker, right? You can also access multiple elements using a vector of indexes. So here we're gonna use a vector of indexes. So the first, third, and fifth. So we're gonna get the first, third, and the fifth prices, and run this print, and then we get those 3 prices. We can also access the element based on logical conditions. So again, we have a variable here, high prices. So here we are trying to get the prices that are greater than 150, $150. So we get all prices that are greater than $150. So we run this, we'll print the variable, and we're able to get all the stock prices that are greater than 150. So for the part 5, there are common functions to work with in vectors um, from length. So for the length, we give you the number of elements in the vector. You can sum up the um, prices in the vector. So it sums all the elements. You can find the average of the element as well, of the vector, of all elements in the vector. You use the main function. You use the min function to get the smallest value. So that's the smallest value. You get the max, the largest value as well using the max function, and then the sort will sort the vector elements in the vector in ascending order. So as you can see, vectors are everywhere in R. Mastering them is crucial for efficient data manipulation. So we just dive deeper into vector operations, specialized. So here we dive deeper into vector operations, specialized vector types, and advanced indexing. And of course, in my book and book series, we'll be using a lot of vectors in our data manipulation for the, stock when we get the data sets for the stock prices. So, yeah, to conclude this, understanding vector is fundamental to R. They are building blocks upon which more complex data structures are built. Um, for more examples and advanced techniques, when you check out my book, you can see most of the building blocks for the data manipulation was based on vector. And so next, we'll explore um, list and data frame, which will allow you to work with more complex and variable data. Okay, so this has been a long video. Let me stop it here. Meet you in the next video.